Welcome everyone. How are we doing today? David, my man, do we have Robert Scott Bell with us? Oh man.
Yeah.
Who let that guy in here?
Wow. How are you, Robert?
Hey, man, I'm excited because we're going to be together at the Red Pill Expo in Tulsa, Oklahoma this weekend.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you on Friday. It'll be great.
Yeah. I got my son Elijah coming with me to help out. We're going to have a great weekend.
Oh, yeah, it'll be great to meet him too.
Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us, man. We're so excited. Hey, excuse my tan line here. I was wearing my hat all day yesterday and I was in the sun for about 15 hours at a softball tournament for my future niece when I'm my fiance is coaching and they played in the championship yesterday. So they had 4 games
Wow.
in 96-degree weather, so it was wild, man. But
Yeah. Well, I hope you
it,
were feeding them some Cardio Miracle and good water all day.
I was, man, all day. It was awesome. So yeah, man, I hope you guys are doing well today. We're so excited to have this Q&A tonight. A lot of good things going on. Robert, you have been a busy man. Can you give us a little recap of what you've been up to?
Well, yeah, th this week has been incredible. There's a physician by the name of Dr. Kirk Moore who has been, through COVID, he really responded to the needs of the people that came to him for help. And, that was a time when parents were being told their kids couldn't go to school, couldn't participate in sports events or choir events or drama events, much less travel. And they were threatening vaccine passports on everybody. And this physician decided to help out, to stand in the gap. When given unconscionable direction and orders to inject something that we now know, if you didn't know then, has proven to be very harmful to the heart, as we talk about, the cardiac events that have occurred, inflammation and damage to the muscle. So he provided, a way out for these families that requested it, including the children. So he is being charged with destruction of government property for doing this, and they want to put him in jail for 35 years. So I've been promoting, on my show, letting people know about it, as well as we had a rally at the courthouse on Monday, and there's going to be another one Friday morning before we head out to the Red Pill Expo. That I mean, Peter McCullough might be coming in for that and others because they see how the travesty of this injustice of going after a doctor who stood in the gap to protect families and children. So I don't know if that's what you were asking, but that's really what's going
No,
on.
man. Yeah, that is huge. That's huge, Robert. How can people that are on tonight, we had over 150 or something register, so it's a big turnout. But can we can we put up a link for you? Like, is there like how can people find you and stream you?
Well, with the show itself, I mean, I'm on every day, robertscottbell.com. A
Yeah.
lot of people are watching on my Rumble channel, the Robert Scott Bell Show on Rumble, but people could watch on Facebook or X at Ask RSB, and wide variety of places people can watch. But
Awesome.
the event on Friday, I can forward you that information because if we can rally a lot of people, it's already having an impact. I mean, the administration, the Department of Justice knows that there's a lot of outrage that this is selective prosecution, while Anthony
Yeah.
Fauci still runs free with an auto pen pardon.
Yeah.
So this is, beyond politics. This is about right and wrong. This is about protecting bodily integrity and autonomy and not poisoning people, in order for them to have freedom. It just seems such a basic low bar that if you believe in freedom, at least that.
Heck yeah, man. No, that's amazing. Thank you. Thanks for letting us know how to follow you. And Elizabeth put that in the chat. So thank you, Elizabeth. All right. So we do have our first question here. Does the temperature affect the quality of the product, like from cold to freezing to hot? I have my take on that. What do you say about that, David? You're on mute. Hold up. Okay.
Yeah, I muted myself. I wanted to let Robert speak. Yeah, so the temperature won't really affect the effects of said product or Cardio Miracle. It will only kind of affect the way it mixes in. So the colder you go, you might have a little more granule at the bottom, and the hotter you go, the better breakdown or saturation of Cardio Miracle into the water you may get. Some people like to use lukewarm. I prefer just room temperature water. I feel like it's kind of the best for my easiest for my body to break down and get in my system, as well as kind of a balanced for the taste of the Cardio Miracle and what I enjoy.
Yeah, and it is a good question. I mean, the only thing that John, my father, has said about the efficacy is that it could be affected if you boil it, and so maybe
Yes.
a little bit of the nutrients could escape it. But as far as lukewarm, steeping it, whatnot, room temperature, I like mine cold personally. I put it in a pitcher, usually put it in the fridge, and pour some out every morning, or just put it in a good old water bottle. I mean, I know some people are against plastic and all that. But for me, it just works. So, what about you, Robert? What's the best way you take it?
I just, I have my filtered, RO water with hydrogen infused into it, the Echo system that I have at home. So I'll just, get it right out of the sink at whatever temperature it's coming out, and just drink it. I just had one, my second one before this. I've been burning I don't know, every oil you can to get through the last few days because it's been such an intense schedule of being up at dark 30, going to the courthouse and,
Yeah.
interacting, getting interviews, getting some information to relay to the world. So in those cases, I always talk about it's a go-to support system to keep me strong when I'm pushing it beyond, right?
Right.
My story is one, I've been organic since 1990, and your dad, Josh, your dad, John, just like trying to get me to, hey, look at this, right? A Cardio Miracle. And I was kind of reluctant because, people do that. And then when I, integrated it, I realized, wow, this took me to the next level. And for me on a maintenance, I'm pretty much a once a day, first thing in the morning before I'll work out. And it's good because I manage my day, my stress, my food, all of that. But I know that a lot of people aren't like that or as disciplined, and that they may take two, three or more, especially when I'm on the road or if I'm hanging out with David at one of the shows, it's like practically on tap and we're drinking it the whole
Yeah.
day. And my son works with you guys and they're drinking it all day while they're packing the boxes and everything
Yeah.
to get
For
it out
real.
to everybody. So it really is for me, I know if I'm pushing myself beyond normal, or if I'm going on like an extra long bike ride, like a mountain bike ride, I'll have my water and I'll also fill it with the Cardio Miracle. And that really helps to sustain pushing myself to those limits as well.
Yeah, love it, man. All right, cool. Yeah, and we have a couple more great questions coming in. First of all, I'm going to give this one to you, Dr. Robert Scott Bell. We got, does Cardio Miracle help improve migraines? My daughter has suffered with migraines since the age of 5 and is now 35. Will you tell us about Super Don?
Yes. This is the greatest question because the story of Cardio Miracle on the Robert Scott Bell Show goes through this very question. And it wasn't intentional. When, I finally kind of broke down, all right, John, let's check this out. He sent some, especially, and I said, let's get Super Don because, it'd be a real good test case because at the time, he didn't live the way I live, even though he hears me talking about it. He switched his diet a lot since then, but he started using the Cardio Miracle every day. And, whenever we get a question on my show about migraines, I would always go, hey, Super Don, this is your domain, because he suffered regularly. A couple of times a month, he'd be knocked out, seeing stars, nauseous, vomiting. I mean, you're talking serious migraines. And one time, I don't remember when it was now, it's a few years back, we got one of those calls and questions about migraines. Say, hey, Super Don, let's talk migraines. And then in that moment, he was like, wait a second, when's the last migraine I had? And he had to think about it. It was like, what have I done? I haven't been having them. What's the only thing I changed? And he was like, oh my gosh, ever since I started Cardio Miracle, I wasn't getting them. He didn't, and it wasn't like, again, a conscious thing. And of course, I know why in many cases, migraines are very vascular related.
Yeah.
And, if you open up the blood flow in terms of an ongoing, not just a sudden quick nitric oxide hit, but I mean, sustaining better function and blood flow and oxygenation, you can break the cycle of things like migraines. And it's not like we're claiming Cardio Miracle cures migraines. It's literally what is it doing to help the body do what it's doing, and then you don't have them because things are corrected. Now, there are people that will take a drink of coffee if they have a migraine, and vasoconstriction helps them. I acknowledge that because it's a blood flow issue. So one direction or the other could change the symptoms, but breaking the pattern of recurrence, that's the difference maker. And since that time, my son's roommate, Brian, has gotten on it. Also, his headaches went away. And then another family member, that Super Don's sister, was put on the Cardio Miracle thing and had similar benefit as well. So I'm telling you, this is like one of those things where I go, I wish we could just put on the label that, and we,
Yeah,
it'd be, you don't have to work again because everybody would want, there's so many people
yeah,
suffer.
it helps. Yeah.
But you can't put that on a label yet. We were
I
working
know,
on
man.
First Amendment freedoms, but we have to talk about the general benefits, and then the end result could be that, not because we said the Cardi Miracle did it, but by normalizing and optimizing other functions, we know that that is a side benefit.
Right. Right, man. Thank you. No, that's huge. And we got a big question from Stephanie about the mitral valve prolapse. David, do you want to tackle that one?
I can touch on it a little bit. I know that mitochondrial prolapse is going to be an issue with the valves closing properly. So with the addition of the medications, we definitely tell you to speak to your doctor because he might be giving it to you for an off-use reason, and we don't really know what that is. We don't have a full picture of what's going on with your health. So we don't ever want to tell you to go off any medications without your doctor, but it can definitely help improve the vasculature and the muscles within the cardiovascular system repair and remodel themselves with new healthy cells while detoxifying the system and rebuilding it with the proper nutrition, essentially proper aminos and the proper detoxification. So we would love to see how that goes with you and see if you get any results. But yeah, we definitely want you to work with your doctor because yeah.
Mhm.
Do you
I
want to
love that.
cover that a little bit, Robert Scott Bell? You might have some intricate knowledge for us.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you have a mitral valve prolapse, it's, all of this is also related to connective tissue integrity. And you kind of hinted at that in terms of regeneration and healing. And so many of the nutrients within Cardio Miracle could facilitate some of that recovery. I will put special emphasis on copper and selenium being very critical for every aspect of the vasculature in terms of protective capacity as well. So if you want to add a little additional like sovereign copper into the mix, that could help. Now, to the point that David brings up is very responsible. You still have to work with your doctor on this. They may or may not know about these things and may be concerned about them, even though they're basically food products. They're bringing elements and nutrients in to help nourish and recover function and structure. So normally they would not have any negative consequence or interaction with the drugs you're on, but there are always nuances, and often the pharmacists know more than even the doctors about contraindications of things that may interact or inhibit something that we don't want to have happen if you're relying on the drugs right now. But most of all, we're coming back to this, we're talking about food. When you're on these medicines, they say don't eat any food because a lot of the foods may be not as rich in the minerals and vitamins, but they're there. And so the real question is there a contraindication or not? You want to find that out, how best to use it to help you in your recovery while you're still relying on the medicines.
Totally. I love that. And I did kind of answer the question a little bit to her personally and just say we suggest that people Google these big questions and phrase it like, does nitric oxide help with blank? And see, there's over 250 to 300,000 published studies on the benefits of nitric oxide, and that's what we're about is we have a product that has been proven to create, generate, and sustain nitric oxide for 24 hours a day. And that's the point, is that nitric oxide is the key figure here. So I hope that helps, and let us know how. Please keep us posted on that. So another question here is, will Cardio Miracle interfere with intermittent fasting? I
Ah, I love that
personally,
one.
yeah, I personally don't like. I've lost 180 pounds. I was almost 500 pounds, and I went on this health journey and I started fasting 20 hours a day and only eating for 4 hours a day. I was in a heavily ketosis diet. And for me, it would not break my fast. I'd wear a glucose patch so it wouldn't raise my blood sugar or anything. But that was me. I've heard some people say that it might mess with their sugar levels, but do you have any experience on that, Robert?
Yeah, I was saying about, all aspects of, what are the benefits of fasting and even intermittent fasting. Part of it, of course, is giving the body, a different focal point of functionality, right? When you're digesting, you're, aggressively going after breaking down to absorb and assimilate nutrients, etc. And then you pause on that for as long as possible. One of the benefits is, of course, the shift in energy and function toward other things. And that could be what we call growth, healing, regeneration. And if you take the Cardio Miracle in the midst of, let's say, that time frame where you're like, between here and here, I'm not eating, it's very minimal in terms of caloric impact. So almost insignificant relative to that. And if you want to monitor your blood glucose levels, if you're looking for a glycemic impact, go ahead like Josh did. It didn't seem to impact him much in that regard. And then we get another aspect of the concept of fasting for prolonged periods of time is enhancing what's known as cellular autophagy, which is a process of recycling some of the waste products for reuse and eliminating that which is not reusable. So cleansing of the cells is actually enhanced. We've seen that in terms of the metabolic interactivity with function. So, for me, when I do a fast, and I do a fast every Friday for like 24 hours, like, dinner Thursday night until dinner the next night, and I'm still doing the Cardio Miracle on the fast day, and it's only enhancing the benefits that I get from the fast.
Awesome. Yeah, and it almost triples your vitamin D levels. So, David, have you had any experience with that?
Oh, I intermediate fasted for several years. I went from kind of an unhealthy 190 to about 155, and that's only with exercise, 1 day a week, fun activities essentially. It, the rest of the time I'm pretty stationary. I don't move much. I sit on the computer. So it was kind of a surprise that I was able to lose that much weight just from intermediate fasting. But
Intermittent, you meant.
yeah, intermittent fasting, sorry. And yeah, it was great, and it also helped my energy levels. Like I had more mental clarity, and when I started eating a breakfast or a lunch, I would notice those mental capacities diminish quite quickly. So it's
Awesome.
still something that I continue to this day. I don't pressure myself with it. Some days I intermediate fast just with Cardio Miracle, and some days I feel like I need some protein, so I just eat. So it can
Awesome.
definitely
Yeah.
work for you.
Listen to your body. I love it, man. All right, another question here. If someone has low blood pressure, 100 over 60, would this be okay to take? I personally have had a wife in a former life, ex-wife, who had low blood pressure. She would pass out at work, freak everybody out, and she actually began on the Cardio Miracle before we decided to split up. And that's the only thing we agree on, except for the love of my children, is that Cardio Miracle is a great product. So she takes it. It helped regulate her blood pressure. So she went from low blood pressure to regulated blood pressure for her body. And she believes in it till this day. We've been divorced for 10 years. So, Robert, you got anything on that?
You don't want me to talk about divorce for 10 years, right? That was the
Sorry, man.
blood pressure question. Yeah, I mean, 100 over 60, is low. Listen, I have, when in my high level athletic endeavors, my pulse rate goes, in the resting part of 40s or 50s, and the blood pressure is extraordinarily low, not low that I'm passing out. My wife has had history of low blood pressure, and she'll still use the Cardio Miracle. Doesn't make it worse. And we're looking at modulating function, optimizing function. And so what you said, Josh, is you might find it normalize. But as with anything, if it's low, monitor it, and then you'll learn. You're not poisoning your body with any of the ingredients. It's only nutrition, it's food. So it's a question of what your body needs and how does it respond. And there is a unique and individual response. It could be, in this particular case, unique to this individual. But by and large, we see a benefit, not a detriment. And if you're on medications for blood pressure, of course, monitor that, because your needs for those medications will change, although most people are on medication for high, not low. So I would say overall, I would just say monitor it, and you may find it really helps you to normalize your pressure.
Awesome. David, anything to add?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a misconception that arginine will lower your blood pressure, but it's actually going to regulate a lot of functions within the body. I've been on the product for 7 years, and my blood pressure will sit at 100 over 70, usually all the time. And I'm a high salt intake person, so it doesn't affect me in the slightest bit. And if you have low blood pressure, like Robert said, it could potentially help that if taken with the proper oversight of taking your blood pressure and making sure you're not going too low. adding the proper amounts of water as well as electrolytes.
Mhm.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, yesterday I was walking with a sweater on after I worked out for a mile and a half, and I started to black out a little bit because it was 97 degrees. So stupid decision on my part, but I thought I could handle it. And I sat down at a church under a tree to try to catch my breath, and I was chugging my cardio miracle. My eyesight totally came back, man. I felt amazing. I just had to rest for a minute, and I'm telling you, I kept going. So it really, for I don't know, for everyone, it's going to be different. So every single body is different. That's why look at cardiomiracle.com/studies and look at the studies that we've had done on the product and look at, just use Google as your tool. And it's like I just Googled, does nitric oxide help with rheumatoid arthritis? And I got a giant answer on Google. And so that's one of the next questions is how could this help with rheumatoid arthritis? Does it help reduce system inflammation? And the answer to that is like a huge yes. And so it's going to help every part of your body with inflammation. That's 100% what nitric oxide does. So, Robert, can you expound on that?
Well, yeah, a lot of inflammation is a lack of blood flow or the compounding of the lack of blood flow leading to more inflammation, restricting blood flow, on and on it goes. Now, with RA or rheumatoid arthritis, you have what they call an autoimmune inflammation, where you have a systemic immune response where your immune cells seem to be attacking the cells of your connective tissue, your skeletal system, creating an ongoing degradation or degeneration as well of skeletal tissue, in addition to the pain associated with it. So a lot of this is related to a lack or poor blood flow and oxygenation. And of course, cellular autophagy, breakdown of cells not happening efficiently, recycling of materials not happening efficiently. So all of these things impact something like RA, even though it's not a treatment for RA. The reality is when you nourish the pathways of blood flow, oxygenation, et cetera, then the possibility of restoring the normal inflammatory response. I come back to copper as well. Copper is the master regulator, if you will, of the inflammatory cytokine response of the immune system. It manages zinc. It helps vitamin C to do its job if you do all that. But in this case, I saw a secondary question. Somebody was asking about what about copper bottles and cups?
Yeah.
That's fine. You'll get a little bit of ion dissociation and maybe have some benefit. I don't think of it as a functional supplemental form of copper like I do with, I eat bee pollen every day, a good source of copper. And if you eat liver from grass-fed animals, it's a decent source of copper, but copper has been diminished from the soils more than any other mineral, partly because of glyphosate, the active ingredient Roundup, but over the decades that they've been doing agricultural practices with chemicals and monocropping, between 70 and 80% reduced in the soil. So it's not in the plants or the animals you're eating. So we've got to supplement. That's why the Cardio Miracle is so important, having all that it has to provide to us.
Love hearing it, man. And someone said, should I be concerned about taking Cardio Miracle and Metropolol at the same time? And with our 50,000 customers, all we can see is if we've gotten negative feedback on people kind of mixing other supplements or medications whilst using Cardio Miracle at the same time. I personally, I've spoken to over half of our customer base. I've not heard any of that contradiction, and we're dealing with whole and organic fruits and vegetables. So I don't believe that there is, but again, we're not here to diagnose, cure any of that. We're here to just share, our wonderful experiences on Cardio Miracle. But David, you might have more to say about that.
Yeah, I also talked to a lot of the customers, and the best way that they kind of approach the situation is taking the Cardio Miracle for 90 days and then kind of seeing where they're at with the medication. Because as Robert said earlier, sometimes those medications will actually start to work when we heal the functions of the body with the proper supplementation, Cardio Miracle. So though we see a lot of people come off these medications, but we have to, in good conscience, work with a doctor, make sure your blood pressure levels are good. but it's a very common result that people get off blood pressure medications with consistent use of our product because of the nitric oxide production.
Yeah. Now, these blood pressure medicines are all often derived from, toxic poisons and venoms in nature, and they synthesize them. And, you got to be careful with any and all of them. And the ideal would be not to have to rely on them forever. But unfortunately, the Western medical science is all about, even if they want to help you, it's about drug therapy to manage symptoms, never getting to the bottom line of why they're occurring. So, in context with what's been said and what Josh said too, is it contraindicated for food? In other words, just say, don't take it with food. And if it says that, then separate out, because Cardio Miracle is food, and just take it at a separate moment. But if you can eat with it at the same time, then it's not an issue. And that's what, but I want to reiterate, when you're on the Cardio Miracle, because of the sustained production, safe production of the endothelial nitric oxide synthetase, technically ENOS they call it, you have often a reduction in the need for the medicine, because now the blood pressure is not having to, it's not high because you're vasodilate, all the benefits there. So monitor your need for any medication like that. Work with your doctor or pharmacist or naturopath, or whoever you're working with on that along with it. So hopefully that's helpful to you, not confusing.
I love it, man. Love it. And so we got 3 great questions here. Caffeine. Is it okay to drink coffee before or after drinking Cardio Miracle? I'd say yes, at least 20 minutes. Is it better to drink Cardio Miracle all at once or sip it throughout the day? Whatever you prefer. I mean, I got 2 scoops and 2 servings in here in this bottle of water. I love it. I love it more tart myself. Some people, but I'll have 2 or 3 or 4 of these depending on my workload for the day. And then, is it okay to use just once a day? And yes, so all these questions are yes. But David, you got anything else to that?
Yeah, so once a day is great. You can take 2 servings all at once if it's something that you do prefer to just kind of knock out for the day, and you'll still get the benefits of 24-hour nitric oxide production. Now, as Robert said, or Josh said, caffeine, yeah, try to take the Cardio Miracle before to kind of lay the proper groundwork for nitric oxide production, the facilitation of oxygen, because that caffeine can burn that out. So we want to feed the proper nutrition to the body so we can utilize the caffeine properly without draining ourselves. Also, what was the other question? To sip throughout the day. Yeah, as Josh said, there's many benefits that people get through the product to kind of fit your own needs. We've had great results, such as myself. I like to put it in 8 ounces of water, drink it fast. I was able to stop my tachycardias with that. And then we have some people who drink it slowly throughout the day because they deal with diabetes or neuropathy, and it's something that can help regulate their blood sugar throughout the day a little bit. It's not going to cure the problem, but it's definitely going to prevent those spikes and peaks and valleys, especially because, increased blood volume is going to help the cell glucose uptake within the blood. So you're going to facilitate more insulin or sugar within the blood properly.
Awesome, man. Love it.
Mhm.
And there's a question for Robert Scott Bell, because he's the one with hair in this Q&A. So
Not as much as Super Don, but hey, I'll take it. I still have some.
Uh,
Yeah.
all right, I'm mainly taking Cardio Miracle to try and help with my hair since I recently experienced unexplained hair thinning. Can you take too many vitamins, like taking Cardio Miracle with Nutrafol hair vitamin, etc.?
Yeah, if you do an analysis of, and I haven't looked at that product, but a lot of times you'll see some duplication, and a lot of people end up cutting back on some of their supplements because they realize Cardio Miracle is so full with good stuff. With the Nutrafol, again, I apologize, I can't comment on the product, but I always look at, and when I read ingredients, I want to know if they're synthetic or if they're coming in as more of a real food nutrient. And that's part of it. Now, if you still have thinning hair, the key, as another mention of copper, I keep coming back to that. It's so deficient. Copper relates to pigmentation issue as well. If you're graying early, or you're wrinkling too much, or your hair is not thick and full, copper is the key there. And you can take, in addition to Cardio Miracle, which I do, I'll take additional doses of Sovereign Copper during the day for a lot of reasons, not just the hair thing, but copper is really the key for the hair. Silica is also important. I don't want to overlook that. It's usually considered the skin, hair, and nail beauty mineral, but we look at silica only, we miss that copper is one of the most deficient minerals in the soil and in our food, in our diet.
Love it, man. Anything to add, David?
I've been working on the hair growth thing myself. I cut the hair for a while, and I know with the increased blood flow, it's the first step to helping the hair growth. And then I've added the copper, and I've actually noticed a little bit of hair growth on the sides, like little baby hairs pop up.
Mhm.
So I think it might just be, there might be a third step. I might have to add some good fats
Yeah.
or proteins, and I might have a little bit of hair. We'll
I,
see.
yeah,
Also,
man.
With
I
some
give up.
some prayer.
I met a sweet lady at an event last year who had come through cancer and all the cancer treatments and lost all of her hair. And she developed a botanical blend that can be sprayed on, and it's called Hair's a Million. And I put it to the test, and it was like an amazing thing because as much as I don't have a lot of hair, but compared to you guys, I'm doing great. But it was like, after using the spray on the hair for a few weeks, I just reached up in my hair. I'm like, dude, is this my head? It feels like there actually it's more hair, it's thicker. So there are good products that are wonderful adjuncts. And David, I love what you said because that was one of the things. Blood flow is everything. So if you want to start that, the delivery of all the things we now know, and use something topically that is safe and not toxic, that Hair's a Million product. And there's a products we love section on my personal website at robertscottbell.com. These are all the things that I say RSB approved. I use them, I've recommended them, and I don't sell anything, but you guys can find it there if you want to go further with any of these things. But Cardio Miracle is the mainstay. It's the starting point.
Love it. Love it, man. All right. So somebody asked about vitamin D3 levels. What is a good vitamin D3 in a blood test? And, a good vitamin D level is going to be, to my knowledge, between 50 and 70. Are you in agreement with that, Dr. Robert Scott Bell?
Well, yeah, functionally for me, it is more a question of how is the patient doing?
Yeah.
What are they showing? Because there are a lot of people that maybe this group doesn't know yet, but people that have been prescribed vitamin D by their doctors, their allopathic doctors prescribing vitamin D all over the place. And very often we'll encounter people that say, I keep getting put on more. The doctor is testing my levels. It's not going up. I get put on more. This was the most amazing thing when we learned about all the pathways that Cardio Miracle was impacting. And one of the most significant is the activation of the stored vitamin D that is more than plentiful, certainly in people that are taking it, not synthetic, but hopefully good, real stuff. But the idea is that you may have a lot of vitamin D stored in the fat cells where it is stored, whether it be from sun exposure or a natural supplement of some kind. But your pathways are deficient when they're not nourished. And what we found with Cardio Miracle in one of the analyses of the pathways nourished is that it activates the stored vitamin D. So in other words, it takes all of that your body couldn't get at, suddenly converts it into a form that the body can use. And then you're finding that you need to take far less of an external supplemental form of vitamin D, which is good because it's a fat soluble complex, hormone D. It's not just like C where you take too much, you pee it out. It's stored in fat. And I'm not saying people are going to be immediately toxic, but the point is if you can't use it, what are you doing? And as I said, you don't need a lot, the little that you can get, and you can get a little bit from Cardio Miracle. Often it's more than enough, and suddenly the levels go back where they were, and you're not taking extra. So I just throw that out as a bigger picture to consider. And I'm not saying D bad, D good. I'm just saying that if you can't use it, that's a problem. And I want you to use it, and Cardio Miracle opens up those pathways of utilization.
Love it, man. And again, if people go to cardiomiracle.com/studies, you can see that we have a report, a test that has been done strictly on vitamin D. So we have that in writing. So it's a big deal. And again, that's going to answer our next question. It says Cardio Miracle is proven to maintain nitric oxide levels for 24 hours. It's actually 24 to 36 hours is what we've proven. And yes, that is the truth. Again, if you look at the studies and read those from Dr. Tadeusz Malinsky, he actually proved that and showed us and kind of, called John and he said, "Who are you? Like, how many chemistry courses have you taken and whatever. And so it's amazing stuff. So wonderful things. We have an incredible testimonial from Lester. It says, I've been on Cardio Miracle for 6 weeks now. Complete turnaround. Rate down 35 pounds. BMI down. Body fat percentage down. Muscle mass percentage up. Body water percentage. Lean body mass. Protein. Visceral fat down from 10 to 8. Man, this guy is on a roll. BMI's down to 63 to 61. Blood pressure down to normal. I mean, Lester's a prodigy. Amazing. So thank you so much for that wonderful testimonial. And if anybody else has any questions that we haven't answered, please go ahead and email us at support@cardiomiracle.com. And one final question for Dr. Robert Scott Bell. Someone was asking a question about copper, and they were saying how much and where to get it from you.
Yeah, I utilize the Sovereign Copper product. You guys can find on the Products We Love section at robertscottbell.com, so you can also get discounted, access. I want you to have the best price possible. And there is the Sovereign Copper, which is 10 parts per million, which is equivalent of 150 micrograms per tablespoon. I want you to understand how safe this is. If you took 3 tablespoons, you've met the needs of a 4-year-old child. So a 4-year-old can take 3 tablespoons a day, is my point. Well, why, if it's so little, why would it be good? It's because it's in the full bioactive, bioavailable state, copper 1, copper 2. So you're not wasting anything. Now, if you really need copper, like for massive inflammation, arthritis, other things, it's an inflammatory controller, pain, then you would take the Sovereign Copper Pro, 3 tablespoons a day. That would get you 450, 900, 1350 micrograms. You can take more than that safely, but the point is, that's the form that I find the most rapid benefit, very complementary to the Cardio Miracle. I'm telling you, people on it that will add a little more copper if they need it. It's, again, the next level game changer. I'm always looking to see how these things integrate. It's like the inimitable, super intelligent Dr. Judy Mikovits, and she says, the Cardio Miracle is that mainstay and everything from that. And you start working with people what they need. Do you need this for this reason? So, the nice thing is with Cardio Miracle, it has so much in it that a lot of things that you may be taking now, you might not need. But there are certain things you go, oh, this is going on. Well, that indicates this. That's how I try to formulate rational ways to respond rather than, I just want to throw everything at it. No, we want to get everything in for the right reasons. And then if we need to add, and we need to stay the course, we need to go up, we need to go down. These things we assess as time goes on, and everybody here is talking about that. Monitor how you're doing, how you're feeling. If you want it to be a blood level test or some other analysis that's more objective, people like wearables. Some people do, some people don't. Utilize what you're comfortable with, but bottom line, how do you feel every day? Are you in pain? Are you inflamed? Are you fatigued? Are you having migraines, right? All of these things are obvious signs to go, am I on the right course? Am I on the right track? Now, granted, there are times as you're doing something better that, you could get a little worse before you get better. It's part of the healing process, but you shouldn't be stuck in the I'm worse for 8 weeks. That's something you're missing then. But the point is you can have ups and downs, but mostly ups with Cardio Miracle as you have functional blood flow, oxygen, the baseline of everything. And from there, you can work further.
I love it, man. Thank you so much. And we got a specific question from someone on potassium, and they say my system runs high in potassium. How much potassium does Cardio Miracle contain? David, did I answer this for you recently? Do we have an exact number on that? I'm trying to remember. Oh, you're on mute. Hold up.
I don't think I have an exact number in that, but I believe you said it was around 50 micrograms, if I recall properly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll get you the exact number, Joey, Joe Tilley, and we'll make sure to get that for you. But I know that it is the potassium that we do have in the product it's derived from a natural or from a fruit or a vegetable, and so we'll get you that question for sure. We'll get you the answer. But yeah, thank you guys very much for being on tonight. We're very excited that we were able to have the presence of Dr. Robert Scott Bell with us. It's such an honor, man. Thanks so
I
much
wasn't
for
sure if I was crashing the party or what when I showed up, so I'm glad you were welcoming me.
Heck yeah, man. Anytime, anytime. I love it. You're always welcome. Thanks so much, David, for your time and your expertise, my friend. And again, if anybody has any other additional questions, please hit us up at support@cardiomiracle.com. Please also look up our Pulse Beat um, uh, podcast that we have. It's on Rumble, and we're streaming. We're not going live yet, as far as like doing live broadcasts,
I
but we
went
do
live
record
from your studio twice now.
it. I know, but we don't have like a time where we're going live every week kind of thing. So we need to get more on the ball. But if we could do it every day like Robert Scott Bell, man, we'd be in the money. So
Yeah,
we
you
lo-
don't need to go crazy like that, but whatever, once in a while. But I love showing up and having some fun with you guys too. And once again, I just want to remind everybody, if anybody's coming near Tulsa, Oklahoma this weekend, it's going to be amazing. A lot of people driving up from Texas, wherever you're at. We're going to have a great time. We'll have Cardio Miracle flowing there as well. And I'll have some silver and copper as well for those of you who want to try that. So it's a really beautiful combination of things that we'll have.
Awesome, man. So exciting. David, any last words for us?
No, thanks for coming on, Robert. I can't wait to see you. You're one of the main people that I learn all the information from, so I really appreciate your time.
All right, well, we'll see you, David, for sure this weekend, hopefully others. Now you can stream it as well online, the Cardio Miracle. Well, again, I'm going to be there, so Cardio Miracle will be there. So I got my shirt. I should have that. Yeah, still beginning. But yeah, we're ready to go.
We got some swag. Awesome, man. Well, thanks you guys again. Thanks so much for your time, and hope everybody has a wonderful couple weeks. We'll see you in a couple weeks.